Welcome back to ARC Florida. We have been talking all morning about weather balloons and how DOGE cuts are resulting in reduced or even completely suspended weather balloon launches.
Now, Storm Track meteorologist Charlotte Carl is breaking down just how important these balloons are.
Not every area has access to this kind of quality of data.
Twice a day at coordinated times across the country, weather balloons rise into the sky, providing critical information that is key to understanding atmospheric conditions.
We have something called a radiosonde, which is a small white box. It collects temperature, relative humidity, wind speed at different parts of the atmosphere, as well as pressure.
Meteorology students can spend entire semesters learning to interpret data from weather balloons.
This is the morning weather balloon sounding from this morning at 7 a.m.
Detailed, real-time information about precisely what's happening in the atmosphere at the beginning and end of every day.
But there is a little bit of moisture here at the surface, and that's why for today's forecast, we're actually seeing some low-level clouds, but unfortunately not tall enough to give us any rain chances.
Yeah. More often if there is active weather. And that is how we are able to accurately identify what type of precipitation may fall, if any, how high the clouds will rise, and where storms and clouds will go next.
It gives us a true representation of the atmosphere from the surface all the way to the edge of space. As a meteorologist, the data that we get helps us identify the prevailing wind pattern, potential of storms in the afternoon as far as tornadoes, hail, wind. So really as a meteorologist, it's kind of the foundational blueprint of what we do for our forecast.
And this kind of data isn't just for weather geeks. Dr. Florence Rabier from the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasts tells CBS 12 News in an email, balloon data is invaluable when responding to dangerous weather, from heat waves to hurricanes, and to protect life and property from their impact. To successfully predict weather over one area, she writes, data is needed from across the globe, which requires access to many sources, from satellites to Earth-based observations. For example, from balloons to synoptic weather stations.
The truth is, a lot goes into putting together an accurate forecast for any storm or hazardous weather event. But like cooking, you may put together a recipe for brownies, forgetting the baking soda, forgetting the butter. At the end of the day, something will come out of the oven that looks like brownies, but you'll bite into it and you'll know something just isn't right. Same goes for forecasting. Balloons are a very important tool that we have in our toolbox to forecast, but they're not the only ones. Without them, though, our global forecasting models simply wouldn't look the same. Reporting in the field, I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl for CBS 12 News.
And just like a magic trick, Charlotte Carl is joining us on the couch now to talk a little bit more about this. This is all very fascinating, especially for people who don't know anything about weather balloons. Well, let's talk about the impacts of losing these balloon launches.
You know, the biggest response I've seen online when, not only us, but other stations have posted stories about these is, why does it matter? We have radar, we have satellites, and these are balloons. Satellite and radar, they don't look up in the atmosphere like the balloons do. I mean, they travel from the surface, right where I was standing, up to essentially the edge of space. So, we don't know exactly what the impact is going to look like. It's going to be kind of a wait and see situation, like the brownie situation. You don't remember you forgot the baking powder until you take a bite. You're like, something's off. So, I think we're going to see impacts probably in, exact precision of tracks of hurricanes probably, maybe exact amounts of what the rainfall totals look like. I mean, these models have been so trained with this data that we've had for years, and now to not have that data anymore, it's hard to say, but it likely will have, not major impacts, but impacts.
Charlotte, for those who are watching, including myself, how much does something like this cost?
Yeah, so I actually spoke with Sammy, who is the National Weather Service meteorologist that I interviewed, and he said excluding the cost of labor, so what it would cost them to pay Sammy to go launch the weather balloon, which he did this morning, and someone else in the evening, it's about $400 to $500 for every balloon. And, essentially all of that, you just throw it in the trash. And they're obviously looking into ways to do it more sustainably, but every launch, which is twice a day at hundreds of sites across the country, is quite expensive. So, the reason, though, is that they're cutting the launches is not even because of the cost of the balloons. It's because of the lack of staffing.
It is important data, obviously, that we are getting from the balloons. Do we have other ways to supplement that loss and that data?
There are some companies looking into it. The hurricane hunters, they drop these things called dropsondes. So radiosondes, the balloons, they go up. Dropsondes, they go down. Very similar, a little bit different. There would have to be the element of someone, putting it up. Some people are exploring doing it via drone. Something we'll have to look into for sure.
Hi, I'm Matt Lincoln for CBS 12 News. Click the like and subscribe buttons if you want to see more stories like this that impact you.